And welcome back to episode 147 of the Weekly Tech Rant with me, Jay.
And me, Carl.
Well, Carl, how are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you doing after all your
I
travel?
am somewhat, I don't know if jet lag is the right word, but I think the lack of sleep is probably the better option. Having just returned from the Middle East and attending the GITEX conference out there in Dubai the last week, which was, if you've never been to it, is quite an eye-opening. It's the largest. Well, they say it's one of the largest global tech shows out there, and it is not letting it side down when it says that at all.
Did you get a swag bag for the goodies?
I didn't. No.
Did you not even for the kids?
No. There was. Do you know what? You could tell what all the big big companies.
Yeah.
To name any that we wouldn't normally talk about. Clearly the view is when you IPO and you're a big grown-up company that has stock, you don't give swag away.
Disappointing.
But it was massive. Apparently, there was 6,000 plus companies there.
Wow.
Over 107. Sorry, 6,000 plus companies, 170 plus countries represented across several halls. Now, I know you've been to Mobile Congress like I have.
Yep.
It probably is close to, but maybe not quite as big in terms of the halls, the main halls. Now they reckon there are 41 halls across it.
Blimey.
And they've got, but it's across two locations. So you've got Dubai
Okay.
Harbour
Yeah.
has the what they call the North Star, which I think is like the tech startups, things like that.
Yeah.
And then GITEX Global is at the World Trade Center, which is similar sort of layout to Mobile Congress and the Grand Frias, those big halls. But
makes sense. Well, at least
yeah,
you've got yourself another lanyard and badge to add to your vast
do
collection.
you know what? I'm glad you just said that. I was just looking up at where I keep those on the side of my unit here. There was a lot of lanyards. My kids are often like, "Dad, what are all these things?"
Can I have them?
No, you cannot. But yes, so that's where I've been this week in the world of tech, and lots of interesting things. You know what the biggest buzzword was this week? Can you guess?
What was it? Was it AI?
Oh, well done. I don't know how you guessed
Yeah.
that.
What do I win for that one?
Not a lot, but I'll tell you something. Everything seems to have AI bolted onto it in one way or another.
Oh god.
AI is everything, and it's not just AI. It's machine learning. It's NLP. But
I'm
there
waiting for
must have
free
been.
AI in my cereal.
Oh, I tell you, if I had insert random currency for every time I saw the word AI, I would be a rich man in about the space of an hour. I tell you. But there we go. So then, this week we've got a slightly different show. This week we're going to talk a little bit about the Meta and the Google recent events and the hardware drops, and we've got one rumor as well, which is I don't know. It is a rumor, but I'm still not convinced it's going to happen. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. The words folding is where we'll come into that. But first, let's, Carl, kick off then the first story of the week then, which is on the Meta side of the house.
It is. Meta had their Connect event. Now, this was a few weeks back at the end of September, wasn't it? So, surprise, surprise. And we already knew this was coming. They launched the Meta Quest 3. And, they gave us a good sneak peek at it back in, was it June or July? But obviously we've got more details now, hands-on. Well, not us personally, but there have been hands-on in the press. We've got specs. So,
we didn't get hands-on.
basically, it looks like a more affordable version of the Quest Pro.
Look, my views on Meta very well, but I have to say, the more I read about the Quest 3, the more I'm like, do you know what? I really think this is a nice piece of kit.
They've got it at my local Argos. For our international listeners, that's like a local, not hardware store. What do you call it? It's a store you can go up, you can buy stuff, does electronics, does all sorts of stuff. But they have them in stock locally, like 5 minutes drive, and I've nearly bought it several times. But I keep some myself. But say it looks really, really good. It's taken a lot of the best features out of the Quest Pro with not the £1,500 price thing. So, what we get? So we're getting a new upgraded GPU. So the new Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2, as opposed to the XR2 in the old one. Big bump in resolution. We've gone to 2064 by 2208 pixels per eye, and those are separate lenses because the Quest 2 just had one big screen going across it.
Oh, right, okay.
They bumped the RAM to 8 gig. Battery life looks about the same, but it's a smaller device. They're using the pancake lenses from the Quest Pro now rather than the Fresnel lenses in the Quest 2. So that makes for a smaller headset, a lighter headset, I think it is. Well, they say it's about the same, but it's less front weight, I'd imagine. But you're also getting things like increased field of view from that. So 15% bigger field of view. The pancake lens they bring with it. So I don't know about you on the Quest 2, or I think you've got the Rift S, haven't you?
Yeah, the Rift S. Yeah.
Like most ones of Fresnel lenses, there's a sweet spot in the middle for clarity.
Yes.
And as you start
Yes.
to move your eyes looking at the sides, it gets a bit blurry. So you kind of have to train yourself to move your head rather than your eyes, which is a bit odd. But with the pancake lenses, apparently it's clear from edge to edge. So now you can just move your eyes
Wow.
naturally rather than have to move your whole head to concentrate on something, which I think is a big win, especially when you're in flight sims and you're trying to look at dials and stuff.
Okay, stop. You knew I wanted to buy one of these. Now you're just basically making it
I'm doing
even
a
more
sales
nice.
pitch.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, there are other quality of life improvements there. I mean, uh, the Quest 2 had a manual IPD adjustment, and obviously the new Quest 3 does as well. But the Quest 3 allows you to adjust millimeter precision, whereas the Quest 2 you could basically choose 58, 63, or 68 millimeter, and that was it. There were like 3 points. You can kind of jury rig it in between, but it was a bit of a hack. So this has got a nice smooth scroll wheel where you can get that finite adjustment to get extra clear for you.
It's an impressive piece of kit. I mean, you've got the pass through capability as well, haven't
Yeah,
you? That
that's the big play, isn't it? The
important.
AR stuff they've given you. Does yours have pass through on the Rift S?
It does, but
It's all very low
it's
resolution, black
grayscale.
and white,
Yeah,
isn't
but
it? Yeah,
yeah, very much. Yeah.
same as the Quest 2. So they've gone full color, haven't they? With 4 megapixel front facing cameras. And it looks quite good. The reviews I've seen, they said, look, I can wander around in it, no problem. I can pick up my phone and read text messages or browsing it from my phone quite clearly without having to take the headset off. That's pretty good.
It's very impressive. I did see, on that Qualcomm was saying that the XR Gen 2 has an average pass-through latency on par with the Apple Vision Pro at 12 milliseconds. But they kind of said that it does depend on the resolution that
You're passing
whoever
through. Yeah.
basically the implementation, isn't it, of how that's
Yeah.
been done.
Okay.
I'm not convinced, it's going to be on par with the Vision Pro because that is a much higher end device.
Yeah. I
But
think
it's,
those displays are higher resolution than the Vision Pro as well, aren't they?
yeah, yeah,
And I imagine
exactly.
the cameras are higher resolution as well. I imagine they've just grabbed the 12 megapixel cameras from the iPhone and slapped those in rather than the 4 megapixel on the Quest 3.
But going back to that, you said the pricing piece and the RAM. So 8 gig of RAM in there. It comes
Yeah.
with 128 gig of internal
So it was
storage.
20, or was it 256 as standard? Now I can't remember. It was
I
written
think
down
it's 128. I thought I
somewhere.
read, but you got up
Oh
to
yeah,
512.
128 or 512. Yeah.
But for us that are doing PC gaming, that's irrelevant. You don't need this. You just need the
I
cheap
want to go up to
version, don't you?
128. Now I'm a
Yeah.
bit gutted. They're still using the same tech they have for PC stuff from the Quest 2, where it's USB-C or Thunderbolt or whatever it is, optical USB-C, whatever we want to call it. But it's still compressing it on the PC and sending it as a video to the headset where it gets decompressed,
Okay.
rather than just doing is it DisplayPort alt mode over USB-C?
So are we seeing latency there then?
I mean, personally, I've never noticed it on the Quest 2, but people have said, people have done technical analysis of it. Yes, it adds a little bit of latency, and obviously you're dealing with some compression artifacts because you're compressing and decompressing rather than just sending the straight image. However, jumping
No
from the
worries.
original Quest I had, not Quest, sorry, the original Rift to the Quest 2 was such a huge jump in image clarity that I don't care if there's a slight bit of latency or a slightly degraded image. It's a massive jump up, and I imagine that's only going to get better on the Quest 3 with the pancake lenses. I don't think most normal people, I don't think me and you would notice really.
No, and given like if I do purchase one, if
When
coming from the Rift S, I suspect I will see a massive difference in quality,
exactly, yeah, definitely,
which is what I hope for. Obviously, that's what I want, especially in DCS with that field of vision, and as you say with those Fresnel lenses and that clear spot, especially when looking at that cockpit sometimes and having to move around, and there's a little bit of blurriness. It drives me insane because
yep.
it's just I can't, no matter what settings you just can't get it clear on a particular dial or that particular
Exactly.
area that you're looking at without as you say moving your eyes. So yeah, I'm very much in favour of this. Pricing, yeah, it's
It's gone
4.99.
up, yeah,
It
slightly. I
still is
mean, what's the
expensive.
Quest 2? It's Quest 2's 299 for a 128 gig. So yeah, it's a bit more. I think in the UK, I think they're selling for around 470, pounds versus the 300 odd I paid for the Quest 2. So yeah, it's a bit more money, but I think it's probably worth it.
And it is coming up to winter. It is time for DCS.
It is. DCS 2.9 was released today or yesterday, which has got a DLSS on it, but I haven't looked too far. But I'm going to say that's not for VR, unfortunately.
No, I suspect not. I
Which is
suspect
odd because DLSS can work in VR. Nvidia have an implementation of it for VR, but no one seems to use it. DCS could really do with it.
Yeah, it could do. There's a lot of things DCS could do, but we won't get into that right now.
That's a whole podcast on its own, isn't it?
On a slightly different note, though, just kind of related
Yeah.
to it, there are rumors out that Valve are prepping the Index 2, isn't there, as well? There isn't much to go on it, but I've seen starting to hear that there are rumors going around. There was a painted application that dropped a few months ago that looked to
Okay.
be the Valve Index 2. But again,
How much is that
nothing.
going to be, though? That's going to be double the price of the Quest 3, or
But I
near
mean,
enough.
yeah, given the reason I say that is if you think about the Valve, the Index kind of set the bar, didn't it?
It
Along
did,
with
yeah.
the HTC and the Reverb, wasn't it?
Yep.
And if you think the original Valve, what was that? LCD display 1440 by 600, which was great, but compared to the Quest 2, which is almost 4K, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's already, the Quest 2 is already surpassing that. So it'd be interesting to see how far they go on that.
Yeah.
And
Do you still need things like lighthouses? I think you do with the
that's it. Yeah, that's
original
it. The
one,
two base stations. Yeah,
which weren't included in the pack. So that was more money on top of the. I don't know what the Index sells for now. £900 maybe. I have
oh
no
god,
idea.
well, it's really weird. I was just going to say that was my point. Was they really are could keep it? They're like the Reverbs. They've got Nintendo style resale value.
Oh
You know,
god. Here we go. So the VR kit with lighthouses and controllers is £919.
wow.
If you already happen to have, okay, that's not too bad. If you happen to have controllers and lighthouses will work, it's 460 for just a headset.
Unbelievable. I mean that is a resale value that Nintendo themselves would be proud of, wouldn't they?
I mean, yeah, even the controllers separately are £260. That's a Quest 2.
It boggles the mind of how they do that. you know,
I mean, I'd love that. I've never used one, so I can't comment. Is it that much of a better experience? Is it double the cost, better experience? I gonna have to guess and say probably not. At this point, is it better? I say I genuinely don't know.
I don't know. Like you say, I
I mean,
don't
if
know.
Valve came out one that was as good as the Quest 3 and didn't have all the crud that Meta puts in it around social media tracking, I'd buy it in an instant. But I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to the price.
No, I don't understand why they are so expensive still.
Yeah. I mean, the equivalent one is who does the other one that's the equivalent? It's from China. I want to say it's a Pico something or other. Is it?
Yes. Excuse me, coughing there.
That's
Um,
right.
I'm sure. Yeah, they we were talking about these before. I remember, weren't we? The Pico VR.
That's the one. Who's it done by? It's done by another social media company. TikTok?
I'm not
ByteDance?
sure, but it's called Pico though, isn't it?
It is, and that's kind of a bit better than a Quest 2. And similar kind of money. I mean, I'd be tempted by that one, but they just dropped the Quest 3, so
Well, they've got the Pico 4, the Pico 4 Enterprise, the Neo
that's the
3,
one. Yeah.
and the 4. The 4 looks pretty impressive. I mean, it as a bit of kit, it looks very impressive in what it can
Yep.
do. Almost futuristic, to be honest with you.
Yep.
Same sort. In fact, it reminds me, ironically, of Vision Pro, the way it's advertised.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll put that in the show notes.
It is ByteDance, so TikTok, ByteDance.
Oh, great. So,
Company.
yeah, Chinese guys. So they've got pancake lens again.
Yeah,
They've got 4K supervision display, according to them. 20.6 ppd, 90 hertz, 1200 ppi,
can grab it from
105
Amazon for
degrees.
350 quid.
Yeah, and it can do 60 anywhere from 62 to 72 IPD.
Yeah. So I mean, that's
Uh,
another competitor. I'd have to read up on that one, but yeah,
yeah,
I'm
you've
getting
got me
tempted to buy a
thinking
new
about
VR
that. Yeah,
headset.
I forgot about those guys. Yeah.
But then you're selling your soul to the Chinese government.
But you can buy Lucas. So just for those of the listeners in UK, for example, you can buy them on Amazon, Argos, Currys, Smith's
Yeah,
Toy
so
Shop,
they are available here.
and John
We don't
Lewis.
have to import them or anything like that.
No. So that's it. But yeah, and that's an alternative. 349, by the way. The
Yeah.
Pico 4 all-in-one VR headset with 128 gig is 349. There you go. Look at that. Look at
Indeed.
that.
So yeah, interesting times in VR. We will let you know when whoever caves and buys the Quest 3 first.
Yeah. Yeah,
We will do a review.
I don't think that comes with a cable, though. By the way,
No, well, the Quest 3 didn't either. The Quest 3, if you go and buy the
link cable.
link cable, the Meta official one, which is an optical one, so basically it's a Thunderbolt cable. That was, I think, £80 when I bought it. In all fairness, I probably could have got away with a normal USB-C 3.2 cable because 99% of the time I'm sitting at my desk when I use it, so I didn't need it to be 15 feet long.
No.
But hey, I've bought it now. It's too late.
Anyway, we've gone off piece bit on that one, but yes. So the Quest 3 then, Quest 3 is now out and available, starting at $499, and definitely looks to be the benchmark for affordable VR. Then I think at the minute, wouldn't you agree?
It is, yeah, definitely. And obviously the big bonus here, they also announced with Microsoft, didn't they, that Xbox Cloud Gaming is coming to Meta Quest in December. I'm not sure if it's just Quest. I think it's just going to be Quest 3, not Quest 2. But yeah, you'll be able to stream your games, Xbox games from the cloud, and watch it either in VR or not the game will be VR, but a display in VR, a screen in VR, or in AR, just like Apple Vision, where it'll sit in the center of your screen, or you can pin it to somewhere in AR and just wander around and view it from different angles or whatever.
Okay, so so you just basically see a large, like having a projector
Large
view.
TV, yeah, whatever. Either in a VR theater or whatever you want to call it, or in AR in real life. So it'd be interesting. I'll be interested. Is it just going to be X Cloud, or like the Xbox app? Could I stream it from my local Xbox or PC? Because if I could do that, that would be quite tempting. The icing on the cake.
I don't know.
Because if I could just, I don't know, chill out in the living room with the headset on, ignore everyone else, and just beam from my gaming PC to the headset, that'd be quite cool.
Well, there we have it, folks.
Ignoring my family.
So Quest 3 then, we will definitely have to try and get some decent reviews of that. Like you say, who's going to cave first?
It'll probably be me.
Oh well, I'll get a Quest 2 to play with then. So
I'll show you my Quest 2.
I'll get an upgrade on.
I'm keeping the cable though, so you'll have to buy a separate one.
Yeah, very good. So what else have we got this week then? So other Google have been out and about, haven't they, with some announcements?
They have. We had the Google event. Is it Google I/O? Isn't it? Is that what they call it? Can't remember what they call it, but they announced what.
It's I/O. It is
I/O. Yeah, we got the Pixel 8, the Watch 2, as well as a new snazzy Tensor G3 chip. But let's start with a Pixel 8 launch, I suppose. And I don't know your feeling, but much like the iPhone launch this year, there really wasn't much of a change, or not to me anyway, from what I could see. It was a minor tweak on the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro, wasn't it?
I think to be fair though, I think Google have hit on a winning formula.
They have,
with the device shape, the camera bump. I know you'll talk about a bit more of the specs in a second, but the camera bump, the whole, I know they've made some changes in the way the cameras are done, but what I mean is the shape and the look and feel of the device is pretty unchanged, isn't it, for several versions now?
It is, yeah.
But I think you're right, it works. And again, it's a bit like an iPhone. Why change it if you don't need to?
Physically wise, what you touch, we got a new soft touch matte glass back. So like the back of the Pixel Fold, I'd say if you ever hold one, I mean, who's held one? But that's what I'm hearing. It's a more matte, softer touch. You've got that on the back of the phone. The screen's brighter. I mean, it's a flat edge. So I think on the Pixel 7 Pro, it's a curved edge. Like quite a lot of the Android ones have curved the edges, don't they, on the screens? So they've gone back to a completely flat one. It's apparently really, really bright, brighter than the iPhone 15 Pro Max even. They're saying it will do, 1600 nits for HDR content, 2400 nits in bright sunlight. So, yeah, see your eyes off.
That is impressive, given what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Personally speaking, I think the Pixel line. As much as I'm not a big fan of Android, yeah, I've used it. We've talked about it before in the past. The Pixel is Android at its most pure, isn't it? If you think about it, it's how to coin a bad phrase, how God intended. Insert deity of your choice.
Yeah.
But it just comes across well, and the hardware. If you look at the evolution of the Pixel from the Nexus lineup. It just looks a nice phone, doesn't it? It really does look like a nice phone.
Yeah. Apologies, I can't stop coughing today.
No. And like you say, given the fact it'll blow your retinas off, with that as well. So we got a fantastic, awesome screen on there. Then,
yeah.
I did see somewhere about apparently it's got like a soft touch.
That's that matte glass back they've got for the Pixel Fold. So apparently it's very nice to hold. So yeah. I think we got a bump to 12 gig of RAM. Storage kind of seemed the same, 128, 256, 512, a terabyte options. We did get the new temperature sensor.
Okay.
So this is where it's on the back of the phone. It's just below, I think, below the flash. You can kind of point at things and take the temperature. So interesting to see how well that performs or how accurate it is. And I think it's currently going through, is it FDA approval because it's classed as a medical device?
That's pretty cool. So that's kind of like the ones that you have.
You're the ones you put at your head and take your temperature with, that kind of stuff, like you do for COVID, I suppose.
Do you know what? I really like that. It is a very cool piece of kit there. If it's accurate,
yeah. No reason it shouldn't be.
No. I did have a read up about this. So apparently, you open it up, you go to the temperature app, built-in native app, and you select object. So it doesn't say person. They're very clear here. It says object
it's an
temperature.
Object. Yeah.
But as you say, until it's signed off by the FDA, there won't be a body temperature option. So it's object temperature at the minute. And you basically press tap to measure, and you hold it within about 5 centimeters or 2 inches from the object.
The object.
And apparently you just line it up and see the buttons. And it gets you Fahrenheit or it gives you centigrade, in the settings, and off you go. And apparently you can. There is a bob. It can detect what it is, whether it's a liquid or a beverage or whatever. You can say that.
Okay.
But yeah, but if you don't, you have to change the material. That's the other thing. So you have to change the material. So there are 11 different categories of material, which are food and organic, beverages and water, cast iron randomly, ceramic and glass, matte metal, shiny metal, plastic and rubber, fabric, wood, and walls and windows. So apparently you will get inconsistencies if you select the wrong material type.
Okay, so I presume it's just doing some calculations on the back end to adjust temperature based on the material.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I'm interested to see when the reviews are out on that and kind of how accurate it is. It's quite a cool feature.
Very much so, and I think given that we all the talk over the last couple of years of Apple not putting those features in, and I know we have a temperature sensor on the watch now, and yes, technically it's only meant to be there for what's the word I'm looking for? Cycle tracking, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can see the data in there, and it is relatively accurate, given that they say the wrist is a terrible place to take temperature from.
But it's not a class as a medical device, is it? Or not for those purposes?
No. Yet.
Yeah.
But it is looking good. So yeah, nice one, Google. I have to say hat tip to them on that.
Yeah, I mean, and the big news with their announcement for me was they're claiming 7 years of OS security and feature drop updates for both the Pro and the non-Pro version. Now, I take this a pinch of salt 'cause, I mean, in the past few weeks alone, we've seen Google kill Pixel Pass, Jamboard, Google Domains, and Google Podcasts.
Well, I think
So,
let's to be fair to Google, I suspect that this is a genuine statement because they have. Let's be honest. If you're not familiar with the mobile OS world, this is a Google initiative that Samsung have signed up to, haven't they? And a couple of the manufacturers have come alongside it to provide long-term software updates. So it is a genuine pledge. But but to your point,
but so
you're
was
right.
Pixel Pass, and no one got an upgraded phone for free, did they?
No, but but to be fair to Google, they have been providing updates all the way through the early Pixel line. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. You can't upgrade a device if it doesn't exist anymore. So I see your point.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much faith I would put in that. Great that they're going to give a go, but will they silently hide that on their website after a couple of years, and no one will really? People forget about it, and no one actually sees
Well,
7 years.
it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you think in this world, when we talk about technology, particularly mobile, 7 years is an age.
Eternity.
Yeah. And if you go back 7 years and look at the devices that there are today, realistically, they can't. I'm not to say they can't run the OSs from today, but in many cases, if they could run the OS, they're not going to run it efficiently. They're not going to have the same hardware
Yeah,
security capabilities that we have today. I mean, if you look at Apple, for example, the cutoff is it the iPhone XS, isn't it? 10s, sorry, the
yeah,
10s. So if you in stylized XS, if for those that are thinking
yeah,
what I'm on about, that's the cutoff point. If you can only get iOS 16 at that point,
yeah.
if you're below the iPhone 10 or the X, it only runs iOS 11 to 16. Now the iPhone 10, when did that come out? I'm just
I
trying to
mean, the
remember.
XS came out 2018, so 5 years ago.
Yeah, so the iPhone 10 then, which is the one that below it then, 2017. So yeah, Apple work on a 5-year basis, which I
Yeah,
think probably, let's to be fair,
that's
is
pretty
more
reasonable.
realistic. Yeah, you know.
Apple obviously have the advantage that they make the chips as that they make everything. They're a bit
Well, you're
more in
right.
control of the supply line than maybe Google is.
No, I mean these chips are the Google Tensor threes socks,
Yeah,
aren't they?
they are.
So
Yeah,
they are Google branded, but yeah, and they're probably created by Samsung or TSMC. I'm sure.
Samsung. Yeah,
Oh, it is Samsung. I couldn't remember. And the sense of the Tensor 3 is the one of the ARM 2023 chip designs, isn't it? Single Cortex X3, four Cortex A7 15 CPUs, and then four A510 CPUs, plus the aptly named Immortalis GPU. So we've got there
yeah,
the basically the performance and the efficiency
yeah.
cores, haven't we? Set up
We
there,
have. Yeah, yeah. It's a bit,
which is pretty much where everybody goes now.
it is. It was just a bit interesting to see that from the G2 to the G3, they jumped from two big cores down to one big core
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
G3. So, but up the kind of medium cores to four rather than two. So, interesting take on it. But yeah, I mean, I've seen some. It looks good. It's kind of up there with, from what I gather, the Qualcomm, the latest chips there. But a lot of stuff like Google was showing off was around AI, and especially photo manipulation and AI photo, infill and stuff like that. Turns out, though, it's not really doing that on the device. Oh, the heavy stuff. So I think they showed on stage they were doing. They had a woman in front of a waterfall. They move the woman around, do some infill, remove a tree, blah blah blah, change the sky, that kind of stuff. Well, I watched a YouTube video the other day of someone trying to replicate that. And with no internet connection, you couldn't actually replicate it because it offloads a lot of that to Google's
Yeah.
cloud to do. So you're not really using the Tensor G3 chip for that, or certainly not in that scenario.
Not good. Not
And
good
he was
at all,
saying,
is
yeah,
it?
even when they had an internet connection, it was nowhere near as quick as what they were showing on stage. Because I imagine the more people using this, the more we're doing it, the bigger load there is on Google's cloud services, and therefore it's a bit slower for everyone.
Well, this is it. That's that magic eraser thing, isn't it?
It
As well.
is, that's the one. Yeah, I couldn't quite remember the name of it. Yeah, Magic Eraser, that kind of stuff.
And it is quite clever. When you see
Oh,
it in action,
you definitely would love that on the iPhone.
but you're right. What they show you versus reality. I mean, because if you go to the Magic Eraser website, they've got some demos. For example, there's one where there's a woman stood in front of a waterfall, um, and you chop out the people in the background, you clean up
Yeah.
a crease on her jacket, and then they move the woman to the side of the picture. And there's another one with a kid. There's kids on a bench, and basically they push the bench backwards and then take the clouds out of the sky. I mean, how the hell does that work? I mean,
Well, yeah, I'm saying the woman in front of the waterfall is the one he was testing, in the video, and just
yeah, yeah.
just didn't work that way.
No, I mean, and you're right. That can't be done. I'm not suggesting that the neural engine on those devices, similar to the Apple style neural engines, is not capable of some of that. But that is a lot of power going to happen there,
That
isn't it?
is, yeah,
The,
that
and
is, yeah.
the photo, the one that gets me, isn't it? What they released last year, wasn't it? Photo Unblur.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So if you take a picture, sometimes it happens, doesn't it, where the autofocus captures the person behind you rather
Yeah,
than
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the wrong subject. Yeah,
well, you can unblur both of them. Now, for me, that isn't AI. That's not machine learning, is it? That is where it's captured
it's doing depth, isn't it? You can change the focus
exactly,
up, which I
same
think
as
you can
what
do on
Apple.
Apple do. Yeah, on that one.
Yeah, and that's what Apple talked about. And didn't Apple talk about that with the iPhone 15? Um, Even if you're not taking portrait mode, it's capturing the
Yeah, it's
depth
just doing
information
catch and depth
all
for
the way through.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I'm sure that's probably what's going on here on the sevens and the eights now that they're out as well. But look, not to take it away from them, it's a great device. It's entry level, not entry level, excuse me, standard vanilla
stock
Google device.
Android device.
That's the
Yeah,
word, yeah. I mean and it is quite cheap to be fair, comparatively, because the Pixel 8 Pro is starts at was it
yeah.
$999?
It did have a
Um,
$100 price increase this year on both of them, I believe, but still a reasonably priced phone for what you're getting.
and it's a flagship. It is Google's flagship device.
It is.
Absolutely. So yeah, really, really nice device. If you're looking in the market, you're a Pixel owner. I can see that there's a really good upgrade path for you there. So
Definitely.
nice looking device. Absolutely. No, we certainly won't be knocking it on this show.
No, exactly. Might knock the Pixel Watch 2 though.
Yes, that's a whole different story. Carry on.
It is. So, I mean, did they do anything to this? I mean, no, I can't really say that. Come on, Apple try out the same design every year, so yeah. But we knock them for that as well. How many times have we knocked Apple for the same CPU? But yeah, Watch 2, it looks identical. It's got the same 2 gig of RAM, same storage, same IP68, same battery. They have changed the chip to a Qualcomm Snapdragon W5, replacing the Samsung. Is it Exynos? I don't know how you pronounce the Samsung ones.
Exynos, isn't it?
Exynos.
I'm
So
sure. I'm getting
hopefully
that. Yeah.
it's a smaller nanometer, so should improve battery life, I imagine. Strangely though, they've dropped the wireless charging on it, and it's now a physical connector.
Okay.
I don't know why, but they've also apparently improved sensors. So the heart rate sensor should be allegedly 40% more accurate during vigorous activities, thanks to some multi-pass sensors that adds more optical sensors. I don't know that one. It's new skin temperature sensor, just like the Pixel 8 Pro and the Apple Watch. They've also added a continuous electrodermal activity sensor, so basically measuring stress, ECG, that kind of stuff. Sadly, though, it looks like it's just as unrepairable as the first one. So, if you read anything in the news about the first one, after the warranty runs out, if there's anything wrong hardware-wise of it, basically throw it away and buy another one. It's unrepairable.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's not good.
no, that's not good. Not even a tricky to repair. iFixit say it's unrepairable. You may get it apart, but you'll never get it back together again.
That's a great statement. You might get it apart, but it is never going back the way you
And
found
that's
it.
not necessarily likely you'll get it apart unless you're using a hammer.
Oh dear. I fixed it. You're gonna have fun with that.
Yeah, so apparently they haven't changed anything on that. So yeah, it's really a new sensor or two. They haven't upgraded the CPU, but it's not much of a change. And I said, Apple haven't really made any effort on changes on the watch recently, have they? With the exception of putting the Ultra out, but that was really the Series 9 with a bigger battery, better display, and a new case. Nothing's really changed with it.
No, and you could argue if you were, you could argue that people from the Apple Watch, oh, nothing's really changed. It's the same. But I think here with the Pixel, really, nothing really has changed, has it? They say, as you say, the sensors there are more accurate. They've got
The new
multi-pass, as you
temperature
mentioned.
sensor.
They've got new skin temperature sensor in there as well. You've still got the Qualcomm with the LTE modem in there as well. But it's not. I don't know, and I'm not saying this to be antagonizing. It doesn't jump out at me. It doesn't jump out at me as a
Well,
really impressive
maybe it
range
has
of
sold
device.
a lot, and that's why they were like, "Why change a winning formula?" I don't know the
Yeah,
sales numbers on the Pixel Watch, to see is it successful.
I mean, the only thing I say for it is it comes in some interesting colors. They've got that blue
Yeah,
sort of leathery style one. You've got the Nike style sports band, haven't you? One that looks like a
yeah,
Nike
yeah.
band, and then you've got two metallic bands that almost look like traditional watches. And
Yes,
uh, I would say typically the kind of the watch bands that would be worn maybe more as a more feminine shape and size. But again,
yeah.
anybody could wear it. But I'm just saying typically would be perhaps sort of more
I
of a
mean,
feminine style thinner band.
generally,
But
I like it. I like I'd like Apple to do a round watch, a more traditional looking watch would be
they'll
lovely.
never do it. It's never going to
No,
happen.
they won't. But you turn on the Pixel Watch and see how big the bezels actually are under that shiny screen, and
Yeah,
yeah, that kind of ruined it for me. Though Samsung's a friend, one of our friends, has bought. He's in the Google camp. He's bought one of Samsung's latest smartwatches. It looks very, very nice. I must admit, I'm a bit jealous. I wish it was Apple.
I see a lot of people. I know quite a few people with those Garmin smartwatches as well,
Oh yeah,
and they seem to be still quite popular, very popular as well. So, and you can still get your messages on them, that kind of stuff, and they have a longer battery life, and a bit more robustness about them. I know the
yeah,
Ultra is quite tough, but generally more designed for outdoor pursuits. But yeah, it's a difficult one, I guess. If you're in the camp, if you are in the Google ecosystem, then yeah, this is probably, and you want the watch you'll be using, it's probably a great place to be, isn't it?
yeah, definitely.
Not bad at all. Not bad. Well, how much? So, what was the cost? I mean, sorry,
I
maybe
didn't actually see the cost of that one.
did we not have that in the notes?
No, I must have missed the cost.
Here we are. The LTE version, sorry, is $400, and the Wi-Fi is $350.
Okay, so still fairly pricey.
Yeah, only 32 gig of storage on them.
Yeah, that hasn't changed. So yeah, and the same 2 gig of RAM.
No, no. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
There
yep.
you go, indeed. So, what then? So we talked. So the one
We
we
talked
talked
about
about with
Tensor
the Pixel
G3, didn't we?
was the Tensor G3, wasn't it? So just to kind of, I guess, come back to that then, is this is their system on a chip, isn't it? So
It
the
is, yeah.
Tensors were launched with the Pixel 6, which, God, seems, I know it sounds daft, but it seems an age ago now, doesn't it? But
It does, yep.
wasn't that long ago, really. It was only was it 2021? The Pixel 6, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, couldn't be
Um,
much longer than that.
yeah, God. So we've got the Pixel 6 there, and as you said, the massively this is their play was more on AI than anything else, and everybody under the sun is racing to become an AI leading organization.
They are, yeah.
Google certainly are no doubt wanting to do that. Bard and all the other suite of technologies there as well. There was a couple of things I pulled out though that they're using to deliver capability using the Tensor G3. Is there call screening functionality for this spam call thing? Have you seen that?
Right, okay, no, I must have missed that one.
So they've got the what they call it. They've got two features on there. One of them called clear calling, which is allows you on anything from Pixel 7 up to Pixel 8 Pro, and allows you to process sound data on your phone. So like with the AirPods, you've got the
Oh, the kind of
uh,
background noise removal.
yeah, that's the word I'm looking at. So basically, it allows you to take out background noise, so you can muffle information, like hold music or anything going on around it, and it allows you to clean up the sound. Effectively, it's noise cancellation, isn't it?
Yeah,
Realistically speaking. So that's one of the areas, and that apparently is all done on the phone
all
itself,
locally.
which
Yep.
you'd hope to do that because the latency of sending that somewhere to get back.
Yeah, it can be
Um,
quite bad.
and then the obviously one is the spam filter protection. So this is again something that Apple don't really do, I think, to the same way, is it? Well, they do and they don't. So this is a feature that even comes on the low end. Doesn't it's an Android feature. It's a built-in spam filter that can be used alongside if you've got a carrier version. So you go into the phone app, you go to settings, and there's a thing under the caller ID and spam, and it filters spam calls automatically. Now, apparently, according to it, can be quite sensitive because if it numbers that you're not familiar with, it blocks those as well. But it will tell you, it gives you a list of numbers that it has blocked, so you
Okay.
can then go in and modify those. You can also send people there to this purgatory as well manually if they ring up.
Yeah.
But again, it's all done on the phone and manual, tested there. Apparently, though, I think Google were licensing some data to do this. I was reading somewhere to do it. So
Okay.
you have C caller ID and spam ID, and then you can filter spam calls and verify them as well. So it's all a capability. Again, Apple could do this as well. I feel it's not a
They
massively
probably
big.
will. They'll bring it out and put several companies out of business.
Yeah, that's Sherlock somebody
Or
else.
Sherlock, someone else, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that was everything we had on the top end, because apart from all the other little announcements, that was
Yeah.
probably the main things there. So let's talk a little bit then. The one rumor we've got in the box today. So, yes. So we've talked about this before, which is the folding iPad. Now there are rumors now, isn't it, that
Yeah.
the folding iPad could show up in 2024, but it is now more likely that it's going to be 2025. Now, this is
Yeah.
initially the 2024 rumors were coming from our favorite analyst, Michin Kuo,
Yep.
who was positive that they would launch it in 2024, but he wasn't. He was part of a lone voice, wasn't he, in the field
He
of
was. Yeah.
Apple voices. And my view is Apple will not put anything out in the market that has any weakness, concern over quality of that screen.
No.
I can't see it happening.
No. I mean, but the rumors, the consensus still seems to be that it's going to be a single screen. So you're going to have a crease there somewhere. How visible that will be, I don't know. But
Like but it's not like the Samsung's got the crease, isn't it?
yeah, well, every folding screen has a crease.
Well,
That's
yes, but
just
I mean
a fact. Yeah. I mean, I think Samsung and the display tech's got better at hiding it, but it's still there.
and this is it. If there are, so one of the reports that's come out, and it's sort of quoted saying that the reports from the South Korean media says that Apple's in talks with Samsung Display Technologies and LG for panel supply, isn't it? But they remain concerned about the panel crease. And this is it. Apple are not going to release a product, especially a flagship product, that's going to have, in their view, a subpar experience, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And if and Apple do a lot around simplification, don't they? They
Yeah.
take the products. With miniaturization is Apple's key, isn't it, as well, and things like that. So I can't see them releasing anything until this technology is proven. And I mean, if that means somebody else gets there before them, I don't think that Apple would be bothered. I think Apple would rather launch it and be confident when they're putting out millions of units that they're not going to have like a 0.25 return or something like that.
No, exactly. I mean, I suppose we'll see. I just don't know how they're going to get away without a crease of some sort. I don't know. It's interesting to see. But I would say, yeah, they're saying kind of late 2024, early 2025 is kind of the direction we're seeing on this one now. But I don't know. If Apple fixed the crease, would you buy one?
I don't know. I'm not. So I was curious to see what's the market for folding devices now. According to Samsung, back in July, there was I found a press release that the boss of Samsung's mobile division reckoned that last year Samsung sold close to 10 million units. Now 60% of those were the Galaxy Z Flip, and then the
Okay.
Fold made up the 40% of it. So they're not. It's not driving massive sale, is it?
No, they're still very expensive.
It is still very expensive. Now, obviously, when you think about the Flip device, that's slightly different to the larger folding Fold 4, isn't it? Which is where kind of we're getting into sort of smaller iPad sizes. How many iPads are sold?
Considerably more.
Yeah, millions of devices. It's a core piece of Apple's strategy. I went back down, didn't I, to the 10-inch iPad, 11 inch, excuse me, iPad Pro M1. Great device, fantastic size, actually perfect size. Yeah, if it could fold and become a 20-inch device, I'm like, that's great, but it would have to be able to replace my laptop 100%.
Yeah. Could you do that
Because
without an actual keyboard?
and at the moment, Mac OS and iOS or iPad OS, excuse me, still have enough differences for me not to be able to use that as a daily machine, because there are still some sites that treat it as a mobile device. When you try to browse it, they set to
Oh
desktop
God,
mode.
yeah, yeah.
The I'd love to be able, that screen is huge. The resolution on an iPad is huge, yet you can't realistically make the icon smaller, can you?
No, no,
Things
you
like
can't.
that. So if we got more of the convergence between the two devices, then I probably, and it could be used as a real replacement device, then yeah, I might consider it. But if there was any way that crease or experience is there, no, no, not at all.
Yeah, tricky one. I suppose we'll see, but I'm still not entirely convinced they're going to release it 2025,
No.
unless there's some breakthrough tech on the screen front.
Yeah. And again, so, quite frankly, 2025 is probably more feasible to allow
Yeah.
for further development in this sector. If do you know what? Even if it didn't launch in 25, I wouldn't be surprised.
No,
But
exactly. Maybe 26. Who knows?
maybe 26. But there you go. There you go. It's just my view on that. Yeah. Right then, I think that then for this week that kind of wraps up
Yep.
everything we've got in the bucket for this week. We'll be back hopefully next week. Yep, I think no
Yeah.
more travel planned is. I don't think we're going anywhere next
I
week.
think we're still in this country. Who
I think
knows?
we're still in this country the next week, so we'll be back next week then to talk about the latest tech news and stories from everywhere around. All of the cybersecurity news, breaking information, and we'll have some more rumors coming to you as well. And of course, you can find us still on X, Twitter, whatever it's called this week. We're still there. The lights are still on. We're at Weekly Tech Rant. Of course, all our show notes at techrant.online for all the information that we talk about on the show. So please tell your friends about us. And of course, we're on all of the usual places where you get your podcasts from as well. I am still thinking maybe we should start posting on YouTube as well, the audio feeds. As a
Maybe.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts. If you'd like us to do that, I'm happy to edit that, and we can pop them on there as well. But yes, we'll be back next week then. And on that note, I've been Jay.
I've been Carl. Have a good day, all.